This tutorial will be covering our charts widget. When you log into SONAR at the very top of your screen, you can either go to your custom pages, create a new page, and choose the chart widget. For this example, I'm going to be using our new quick chart feature. Everything displayed in this chart and available to you in this chart is the exact same as if you were to load the widget on a custom page. So when you first load a chart, you have your enter symbol on the far left side where you can filter through the index categories, or if you know the index code, you can just simply type that in to display it on your chart. You have your time windows down at the bottom going all the way, 5 years, or viewing the entirety of the historical data sets, or you can choose a specific start and end date and apply that range to the chart as well. At the very top on the right side, you'll notice there are several different display options. So the first ones I'm going to go over are different chart styles. The default will always be mountain. You can flip this over to line, and all that's simply going to do is remove the shading that you see under your line here, and it will also change to a just solid white line. The other chart style is our baseline. And when you choose your baseline, it's going to put a white dotted line on your chart with double arrows to the right side, where you can actually click and drag to set wherever you want that baseline. Now you can choose, whatever baseline you want to set here. Anything above that base will show green. Anything below the base will show red. So for example, looking at our outbound tender rejections, when the rejections get above that 5% range, that is an indication of flipping back into a more balanced market. All this year, you can see we're well in the red. It's been very loose from a capacity standpoint. But if we zoom out and let's just look at the last 5 years, for example, keeping this baseline down at that 5% range, you can see, when we actually tipped below that, indicating we are now in a soft capacity market, and really keeping an eye on this to see when those rejections are going to increase and get above that baseline. So this is an example of how you can use that baseline, even drilling down to a market level, choosing the baseline you want to display for that. Now, there are also several different chart preferences. The grid lines and the crosshairs are going to be your defaults. You can invert your y-axis, which will actually just flip the data set to the top of the chart and invert that trend. You can also show units on your y-axis. So when you're looking at a data set, if you're not exactly sure how it's getting recorded, if it's an index, if it's US dollars, in this case being a percent, you can turn those on to display to you as well. We also have a range selector and then large fonts. The large fonts just makes things bigger, bolder, really great for any presentation style. Then below that, we have different themes. Night is the default. It's going to be your dark mode. If you wanted to flip it into day, you can do that as well. Or you can even create your own custom theme. So your line chart, if you don't want this to default to white, if you do, prefer that lighter, whiter mode, then you can change that to any color. Same with the mountain, backgrounds, all of that is customizable. And then naming your theme and saving it. Now, once you do that and you save that theme, any new chart you populate from there on out will hold that same theme. Going back up to the top here, we have our seasonality view. So when you're using the seasonality view, you want to choose how many years back you want to view. So if I just increase this to say 4 years and then click that toggle on, the chart is going to load the last 4 years worth of data. So you can see 2022 is going to be green, 2021 is yellow, 2020 is a deeper, darker blue, and then 2019 is your orange. When you set the seasonality mode, your chart date range is going to be full year. So it's going to be January 1 to the end of December. You can see that mountain line down at the bottom is current this year's volumes. And the seasonality view just really allows you to see how current year's rejections stack up to those previous years. It'll allow you to catch potential seasonality trends, or anytime, on a year over year basis, we typically see capacity start to tighten, whether it be leading into a holiday or if you're looking specifically at reefer, especially on a market level when, that reefer capacity starts to tighten due to produce seasonality, things like that. And then just click that toggle again to remove the seasonality if you need to. Several different studies. We have Bollinger Bands, which these will actually plot a standard deviation level both above and below a simple moving average. So if you wanted to toggle these on, you can click your active studies here and adjust the time period. So this is going to be based on that moving average. So if you wanted to do, say, a moving average over 30 days, you can choose 1 or 2 standard deviations. And then if you want to adjust your colors, you can do that as well, and then click Save. It's going to adjust that moving average line there in the middle, with the Bollinger Bands being expanded out, showing you the variance of that deviation for the particular data set. Clear all to remove that study, and then you can do your moving average and your standard deviation separately as well if you wanted to do so. Crosshairs will also default on. If you turn those off when you hover over the chart, it's not going to show you any information. So turning those on will allow you to see what date you're hovering over, the value, and all of that. Your info, if you hover over a particular day, no matter where this crosshair is, up or down, it's going to show you what the actual value that was reported for that particular day. And then the draw tool. So when you click the draw tool, it's going to pop down this select tool drop down here. And we've got several different ones in here. So you can draw an average line. When you click this average line, you'll want to toggle on your access label at the same time. Clicking from, if you want to go beginning of the year, all the way to where we are currently, you'll see that actually right now we are sitting at almost spot on that yearly average. If we wanted to look just since the beginning of August and drag that, you'll see over the last 3 months, rejections have been more elevated on average with just under that 4%. Right click these lines to delete them. You can also add callouts. So if something particular happened here that you feel necessary to call out for a presentation or anything like that, you can add it here and save. Also able to edit all of the features, colors, line style, font, and everything like that for the call out as well. Then you also have a ellipse, which draws a circle or an oval around set data sets that you're able to move around the chart as well to just additional call outs there. Shapes, regression lines, trend line. The trend line is another more popular used one. You can set it to any point and go to, the next couple of months, or go from a low up to a spike and see what that percent change was. So the rejection percent themselves had a 0.84% change there, or increase from, end of March to about the end of June on that trend line. So you can also adjust it once you have it set to any other point you wish to move it to. Now, once you have your initial data set pulled up, there's also a plus compare. So if you wanted to compare 2 data sets together, you're able to do that. You're also able to choose what color that comparison line will be displayed. And the reason I chose these two data sets is your rejections are a percentage while your volumes are an index. So on your display, you'll want to choose a different y-axis style, and in this case, dual. What that does is it will flip that comparison data set to the left side axis, keeping your initial data set on the right, effectively overlaying the two data sets so that way it will compare them to each other. So typically an increase in volumes may also impact those rejections in an increase as well, and you can see how they actually correlate to each other. Another display option is our y-axis style is our relative mode. So this is going to put both those data sets back on the y-axis on the right side, but now both are being compared as a percentage. So for example, if I zoom out to 6 months, you'll see that the rejections, still in blue, have seen a 24.3% increase over the last 6 months, where the outbound tender volumes have only seen a 4.3% increase. So volumes somewhat remaining fairly consistent, while the rejections are proving to be a little bit more volatile, showing potentially some excess of capacity that we are starting to see in the market as well. That is pretty much all of the features for the charts. We hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out to your customer success manager or cs@freightwaves.com. Thanks for watching.